Hello folks, today we are again going to be doing a short lab activity on physical and chemical changes. So this builds upon our previous making observations lab activity. So today we have three little procedures to follow, and our task is to identify if these are physical or chemical changes that we are observing. Please remember that there are four indicators of a chemical change, or four clues that we're going to identify to determine if a process is a chemical change. These include color change, a precipitate, a gas being formed, and energy kind of change. So let's go ahead and get started here. We have some test tubes here, and we're going to follow our procedure. First part is, it says place a very small amount of substance A into the test tube. So I have substance A. I'm going to place it into the test tube. And it says add some, then take a look at it, okay? Once I look at it, I notice I have a white crystalline solid. Then in the next step, it says add a little bit of water. So I'm going to go ahead and add some water. Again, the water is clear and colorless. And then it says to stir. So I'm going to take my stirring rod and I'm going to stir. Hopefully you can see all this. When I do that, I do notice that the solid seems to be disappearing. I don't see it sitting there anymore at the bottom of the test tube. There. All right, let's go ahead and follow the next step. The next step says to go ahead and add a little bit of silver nitrate. So silver nitrate is found in a pipette. It is labeled AgNO3, so that's silver nitrate. And I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit to this test tube. Notice when I do that, I immediately get a white precipitate, And no change in the temperature, white precipitate. So that's our first one, part A. Let's go on to part B, where it says place a very small piece of zinc. So I have a piece of zinc here. The zinc is silvery looking. It's sort of a nugget shaped. I'm going to go ahead and place that into the test tube. So I have a piece of solid zinc sitting here in this test tube. And then it says go ahead and add some water to this. So let's go ahead and add some water. And I don't see any appreciable distance here, difference between what I saw before. The piece of zinc is sitting at the bottom of the test tube and it looks exactly the same as before. The next, it says to go ahead and add a pipette full of hydrochloric acid. So here I have hydrochloric acid solution, and I'm going to add the entire pipette full to my test tube. So when I do that, I immediately see lots of bubbles. Lots of bubbles are being formed in the test tube as I've done that. It is also getting a little bit warmer. All right, so that is the part B of the lab. And you can see this reaction is quite vigorous. It's still bubbling quite a bit. And the zinc, although it's still sitting there at the bottom, the bubbles do seem to come from they do start to originate right around the zinc. All right, let's move on. In the next part, it says here, turn on the gas. So now we're going to be using the Bunsen burner. So if you were in the lab, you'd be doing this. So I have my Bunsen burner here. I'm going to turn the gas on. At this point I can hear it. I can hear it coming out of the Bunsen burner itself, and it asked me to make some recording of the observations. A, I can hear it coming out of the Bunsen burner. 2, I can smell it. It has a smell, but I can't see it. So it is definitely colorless, has odor. Oh yes, I can definitely smell it. All right, now let's go ahead and light it. I'm going to take this device called a striker. I'm going to generate a spark, and there is my flame. So at this point I have methane gas that is coming out of the jets. It is now burning, and what do I notice? I have a flame. It is bluish in color. It is warm. Yeah, that's what I would use to describe it. I'm going to turn the flame down just a tad. All right. But next I'm going to do something. I'm going to take a piece of magnesium ribbon. There's the magnesium ribbon. Hopefully you can see it. It does bend, so it is bendable, and it's also silvery colored. I'm going to take these tongs and hold this piece of magnesium, and then I'm going to put it in the flame. Now you may want to sort of watch this at the corner of your eye. So I'm putting it in the flame, in the hot section of the flame. I have to be patient. All right, there it is. I'm going to place it on the watch glass. I'm going to turn the gas off. Now, what is left over? I have a white chalky-like substance here at the end. And that's it.